It's 5 o'clock on Monday, December the 20th, and we'll go ahead and call this regular council meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to our council meeting today, and if you'd please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Deb.
Harley.
Here.
Brad.
Here.
Rodney.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Don. Jody. Here.
Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion then to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Jody. Yes.
Motion carried. Across the mayor's desk, I'd like to thank Kayla Thompson. She's our videographer this afternoon. And as 2021 draws to a close, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the city staff, the city council, and certainly the city employees for all of the projects that we got completed this year. It was a busy year, and we've got more to do next year, so I'm looking forward to 2022. And also just want to wish everyone peace and joy during this holiday season. So any council member have anything they'd like to share? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into agenda item number 6, and that's an update from Jacob, City Administrator.
Hey, Bobby, you want to come make some introductions?
Yes.
Wanna do it then?
We'll
Okay.
do that right now. Perfect. You guys want to come up with me? So I just wanted to take a minute here. Mark Bacha was promoted to Assistant Chief. He's been here for a little over 8 years, and he was a reserve prior to that. A lot of you guys, I think, know him, but I just wanted to have an opportunity to get him in front of you guys so you guys could just say hi. And Justin Wood, he just started with us right before Thanksgiving. He was with us from 2013 to 2015. He's been in a couple other departments, and we're just super happy to have him back with us. So I just wanted an opportunity to let you guys, I'm sure you've heard Justin Wood, and just put a face with him and let everybody else. So if you guys have any questions and make them want to talk for a little bit, that's up to you guys. So, but that's what I wanted. I just wanted an opportunity to put names and faces for you guys. So
You bet. Just happy to have you on board, so.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
thank you guys.
Feel safe to that.
And then I just want to thank everyone that attended the library pop-in event the week of December 6th that was open, as well as the Cocoa and Carols and I think Santa reading hour that they had too on the night of the 9th. So it was really exciting. Heard a lot of great comments to see the public in there finally. And then may have noticed on the Library of the City's Facebook page, we've been adding a few updates that a lot of our furniture is now starting to come in that we still had outstanding. So there's a lot of kind of neat pieces, some reading nooks, things like that that are pretty cool features that are still being finalized on the install, but continue to make progress.
Okay. Thank you, Jacob. Agenda item number 7, this is the citizens' opportunity to address the council with any item that's not on the agenda. Is there anyone here in the council chambers that would like to speak? Is there anyone on the phone? Barb? Or
There's people on the phone,
but-
but it doesn't look like anybody's trying to talk.
Okay. Okay, we'll move into our consent agenda, and that includes approving the minutes from the December 6th work session, as well as our regular session, approving the bills to be paid this cycle, approve the department reports, as well as the minutes from the various boards and commissions that have met, and Jacob's administrator's report.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Rodney. Is there any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Jody. Yes.
Motion carried. Move into agenda item number 9, which is a public hearing. It is 5:07, and we'll go ahead and we'll open that public hearing, and this is regarding the voting district wards.
Following each census, district precincts and wards have to be redrawn based on the new population count. So this is the proposed ward map for the city of Algona. Up on the screen, and there's an updated version on the easel over there. Algona, we have 4 wards that 1 council member is elected from, and then we have 2 at-large council members. Notice for the hearing was published on December 9th. We have not received any comments regarding this item here at City Hall.
Okay.
Just us trying to remember, do supervisor districts somewhat follow ward when they're in town too, or?
Yeah, and maybe speak a little bit to that, but they can't split our districts. Yeah. Correct. Sorry, you should talk coming up.
I'm Luke Snyder. I'm the GIS coordinator for Kasuth County, and I work with the auditor's office over there. I've been working with Deb a little bit on these maps too. And so you're correct in that because of the population, here in Algona versus Kasuth County, it's important that all ties together with how our districts or supervisor districts eventually will be developed. I believe the way that the code is written, there can be, no more than 2 supervisors, as part of the city. So the way that the supervisor districts hopefully will be laid out in that 2 wards will go to 1 supervisor, 2 wards will go to another.
And then they'll have some area outside there too?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. As part of this, when we were working on the development of this, in 2020, the Keek Industrial Park area was annexed into the city. Every year, the U.S. Census Bureau sends us a boundary and annexation update that we submit information for in terms of annexations, changes such as that. We submitted our information in January, but unfortunately, the U.S. Census did not get what's called a census block split according to that. On the lower left corner on the exhibit over there on the easel kind of shows the Keek Industrial Park, and then there's 2 residences within that census block that it extends out from Highway 18 on the north, the railroad on the south, and 140th, the AGP blacktop out there on the east, and Snap-on Drive. So through no fault of our own, basically we're going to have another city-county joint agreement for that area. So because the U.S. Census didn't get that split in time for this process. And we're not allowed by code to split up a census block.
Okay. Any other questions or? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, it's 5:10, and we'll go ahead and we'll close this public hearing at that time. We'll move to new business, agenda item number 10, and this is a resolution approving a joint precincting agreement.
As Luke mentioned, this is the joint agreement between the city and county to address the census block issue. So this resolution simply approves that agreement in the joint city-county precinct that covers Snap-on Drive, or the Keek Industrial Park property, which has a population of 0. So,
Move to approve resolution.
Second.
We have a motion from Rodney, a second from Harley. Any other discussion?
I just want to thank the county and Luke in particular for partnering, working with us on helping draw these maps and working with us on this process.
Okay, thank you. Okay, vote please, Deb.
Rodney? Or, I'm sorry, Carly?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 11, this is an ordinance establishing new voting district wards. This is the first reading.
So this ordinance provides the legal description for the 4 wards that are shown on the map. This is just the legal narrative defining them. So the previous ordinance that set the wards will obviously be repealed, and this one will take its place for our ward for the next 10 years.
I think it'd be appropriate to waive the first reading, although it might be fun to hear Paul try and read all those descriptions.
I'm here to serve.
Second.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Rodney, then to waive the first reading. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Carly?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Move to approve the first reading.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Tyler to approve the first reading. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Carly?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 12, this is a resolution concerning ARPA funds.
As we've discussed at a number of different work sessions on how the city might allocate the approximately $804,000 that we're expected to receive in American Rescue Act Plan funds and their eligible uses. So this resolution approves the allocation of the first round of funding. The total amount to be allocated is $163,000. It's proposed to be divided between the Cassup County Care Team to support programs designed to serve populations disparately impacted by COVID-19 for $5,500. The Cassup County Care Food Pantry for $5,500 for the same purpose. And then the Northwest Iowa RSVP, $2,000 for the same purpose, as well as to support new programs that they've implemented to address education disparities. So the 3 of the are 2 outside nonprofit organizations, and then the 4th is $150,000 to the Algona EMS department, which would be used over the course of 2.5 fiscal years, now basically until the June 30th of 2024. As we had previously discussed when County EMS Director Phil Eldridge was here, had been working with the county on both of us putting in ARPA funds to support premium pay for EMS, as well as for eligible reimbursements. At the last Board of Supervisors meeting, they did approve $150,000 towards the EMS system. So as we continue to look at projects and there's other, as we narrow down how we're going to spend these funds, we'll have resolutions setting forth the criteria so there's a clear record on how these funds are spent and specifically what the rationale was for 15-year that's been at these monies.
Motion to approve the allocation of funds for the American Rescue Plan Act.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Carly?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 13, this is a resolution regarding EMF staff schedule.
As part of the ARPA funding, so the city share will go towards some of our eligible reimbursement expenses for payroll spend, responding and mitigating COVID-19. There's also a portion going to volunteer as well as full-time employees for premium pay to be used in combination with the county. However, proposing the reason for the premium pay is, the EMS has, really been challenged with the pandemic that we've had, having to maintain their service and just the daily, hazards and exposures that they experience, as well as when we look at, especially, workforce is tight everywhere, but especially in the healthcare industry, it is extremely tough at this point. Everyone needs, nurses, paramedics, you name it, there's a need for it. You've really seen demand for, with travel nurses, travel paramedics, those types of positions that are, paying way more than what the city can ever realistically imagine paying. So, we're looking at it as a way to make these changes to, provide support for the challenges that the EMS department has experienced, as well as hopefully by increasing their pay, will help us retain and recruit staff, because it's a very tough position right now in terms of being able to find new employees, and so we want to make sure we're at a minimum hopefully retaining everyone that we have. So the premium markup pay over the course of the 2.5 fiscal years will be proposed for an increase in the second hour shift, moving that hourly rate from $2 to $5. We looked at our scheduling scenarios. I can't tell you how many times to see what we might do to make it more attractive. With the way we rotate, having to cover with a paramedic, the Sway City hub, we can't really come up with a way without dramatically increasing the budget and the number of employees of having a straight, 24 or 12-hour shift without a backup. And as this type of labor force is really tight, it's certainly not an ideal schedule for everyone. So you're seeing our type of schedule used to be more common, but you're seeing going less from that, just from to be more attractive to workers. The way our system has to work, we're hoping by providing this that it will make it more okay to work those the second hour shift, which they're still required to be able to respond within 5 minutes of time. So on the first hour shift, they physically have to be in the building. On the second hour shift, they don't necessarily have to be. Often they are, but if they live in town, they could be in town as long as they can get from their place into the facility responding within 5 minutes. As well as, so that's the first use of the premium pay. The second use of it would be in terms of lump sum payments for months of service based on looking back from premium pay. So those would be proposed to occur on June 30th for the next 2 years for full-time employees employed at that time.
I think we've had some good discussion on that, and I think this is the way we felt best currently to continue with, at least to try to continue to keep who we have. And I don't understand the scheduling all, I guess, together, but you guys have thoroughly looked it over. And
been a lot of time going spent with this, for sure.
So I'd make a motion we approve the resolution.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Tyler. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Jody. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 14, this is a resolution pertaining to wage rates.
So with the wage adjustments identified in the EMS policy, our previous salary resolution for the current fiscal year made reference to that policy in terms of identifying the wages, just because depending on if they're working second shift or second out, first out, time of day, depends on what their hourly rate is. So rather than spell it out, we put it in a separate document. So this resolution does two things. First, it addresses the premium pay changes identified in the EMS policy that was just adopted. It also has in there increasing our volunteer rate of pay. So and that additional monies will be using ARPA funds. So for EMTs that sign up, their regular rate will go from $14 to $17 for first shift. Drivers, their currently on-call rate will go from $12 to $15. With the difference paid by ARPA. And then we also have in there for our volunteers that sign up for shifts, they're paid either the second shift or the downtime equivalent of the full-time employees, which is spelled out in here. And then finally for the drivers, they're currently paid $1 an hour. They actually sign up for it's on call. We have currently 3 drivers that will sign up for about 1 day a week. So they're right now getting paid $1 an hour to just be signed up and available. So we're proposing to change it to $3 an hour. We're hoping that it's something to say thank you, as well as between that and going from 12 to 15, we get 1 or 2 more drivers. That certainly helps, especially on long transfers. It really helps just to be able to relieve in terms of the burnout on some of our paramedics and EMT for having to make these really long trips that can stay behind, rest and or be available if there's another call. So those are the changes on the EMS side of things. It also changes the patrol officer wages. We met with Ways and Means Committee back in November and again December to look at our patrol officer wages and how we stack up. Not quite as intense of healthcare, but pretty close. The labor market for police officers, the last opening that we had, we got 4 applicants. 1 was certified, 3 was not. And then we went to the day to actually test, and the other 3 showed up for testing. As you met Justin tonight, we were really happy to get someone who was certified, who we were familiar with, and who would be a good asset to our team to fill that vacancy. But as we've seen, wages move up at the state level. We're really in the challenge with the labor force in the industry. It's really important to try to retain the officers that we can. If we have to send someone to the academy, which this last hire we didn't, but the previous hire that we did 3 years ago we did, the time and money to pay the person to go to the academy, as well as the academy to cover the overtime, it's about $30,000 to $40,000 to do that. So we're really hoping that with these proposed changes, this will get us our maximum wage and our average wage more competitive with the area and peer cities. And so what's proposed is providing for a $1.50 increase for all patrol officer wages. We had discussed implementing that come July 1. The vacancy that we had in the department, we are below budget on year-to-date for personnel. So looking at that, we can implement it, proposed to go to January 2nd, and we should still come in under budget in terms of police personnel. Currently had that vacancy. So we were originally looking at July 1, but just given the competitiveness of the market and the fact that we could make it work in this budget, we think it's in the best interest to have that raise happen sooner than later. And then once we get to January and have a better handle on our revenues, we can do another round of comparing on all position wages and decide if any additional adjustments need to be made. But with the Ways and Means met on December 7th, their recommendation was to at a minimum look at $1.50 across the board wage increase for all patrol positions. So that's what this does.
Jacob, back to EMS, on the volunteer pay, you said ARPA is gonna cover that right now. Theoretically, ARPA may or may not be around forever, right? So, looking at the budget in years to come, are we gonna be at a shortfall, or are we gonna be able to cover that in the future?
So looking at our, kind of finish line in sight, I was thinking that July 1, 2024. Assuming that a vote passes and it moves towards a true countywide system. The ARPA funds have to be allocated by the end of 2024 and spent by 2026. So that entire time period, assuming that we go through the end of fiscal year 24, ARPA funds would be available to use up until that point. If the vote doesn't pass, there's obviously the ARPA funds will run out at some point, but that's going to require kind of a broader look at. We probably need to make some more dramatic changes on how this is going to happen or how this is going to work. So for the time being, the ARPA funds, that 150 to get us through in our city program and transfer to the countywide program is adequate.
Okay.
Well, actually, I was on the Ways and Means, and we talked about the $1.50 in July 1st, and I'm glad we brought this back to move that up, because just knowing of the struggles of the county, even sheriffs finding help and keeping help, and us losing some, I think it's something we need to do immediately to make sure our officers are compensated appropriately. And as we looked at all of our areas, it looked like we were about $1.50 under to be as competitive as we needed to be. So I'm glad that we're moving forward with that early here.
So I'd entertain a motion then to approve that resolution.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any other discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harlan.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler. Yes. Jody.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 15 pertains to setting a date and time for a public hearing.
Barb, do you want to take this one?
Sure, this will be a joint public hearing with Cassup County. It's in reference to vacating the gravel road out by the airport from Lusher's Farm down south. I can't remember exactly how far, but there's a very small part of that gravel road that is actually within the city limits, since we've expanded the city limits out there. So the city needs to jointly have this meeting with the county. The plan is to have this meeting on January 11th here at City Hall, which is the next airport commission meeting also. So we'll have the board of supervisors here, we'll have the city council here, and it'll be the public hearing.
And that's at 5 o'clock.
5
5 o'clock.
So just for reference, here's 100th Avenue, and this area is where the street would be closed and vacated, and then turnarounds will be built on either side of that.
Okay, move to set the set this public hearing for January 11th, at 5 o'clock.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Harley, second from Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harlan.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Jody.
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 16, this is a resolution involving the airport.
This resolution simply adopts the airport improvement program, the CIP that was presented and discussed at the last city council work session. I have to answer if there's any specific questions on what's in there, what's not. But this approves the proposed projects and basically submission of the application to the FAA to ask for funding, but doesn't necessarily commit the city to the projects at this point.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Have a motion from Rodney, second from Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harlan.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Jody.
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 17, this is a resolution pertaining to street improvements next year in 2022.
This resolution approves task order number 4 to the master agreement with Fulton Inc. for design and bidding services for proposed 2022 street projects. This is the updated map. We've shared kind of versions of this over the last few meetings. The areas in blue are unchanged. Section of North Street, we've removed that. The condition of that section of street warrants more than just a little overlay. We're going to look at a full recon or pavement rehab for that project. Then we removed one block in Nebraska as well that will keep us west of Hall Street, and then that can be taken care of when we look at doing this greater area in Nebraska around that parking lot. With that, we then added 4 blocks that are shown in green, which pavement-wise equals about the exact same as these 2 areas that were removed. And then we also have in there design for improvements to the library that we briefly discussed in our work session at what we're looking at doing out there. In all reality, we probably won't end up being able to construct that project this year. If we can at least get the south parking lot entry constructed, that'd be ideal. But likely we're looking at a scenario where we're having to make improvements to that south parking lot to the right of way in front of the library. It just makes sense to do those comprehensively. But if we don't do it this year, we're going to want to do it in the very near future. So we want to have the design for this because that'll give us, some more options, answers, and a more definitive cost estimate. But just know that we might end up actually dropping it from this project to be bid because we do want to get this out to bid relatively soon this year. But then we'll be that much ready to go in the future for that.
I was happy to see the relocation of that drain in the middle of that library parking lot entry. That has caused problems for a long time.
So the total reconstruction cost of the proposed projects is about $1.8 million. And then the cost for the design services is a lump sum fee of $157,000. And then once we get to, after the project is bid and we award the signed contract, we'll do an updated agreement with Fulton Inc. for construction administration services. And Matt Cole from Fulton Inc. is here with us this evening as well for this and the other items if you have any questions.
I think we've kind of taken a look at this for quite a few meetings, so I make a motion, we approve the resolution approving the task order number 4.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Martin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 18, approve streets for reconstruction for next year, 2022.
Specifically, this item relates to the reconstruction projects in task order number 3, which is approved at the previous council meeting, which we discussed possibly adding a couple blocks of North Phillips and/or moving 2 blocks of Worcester to a future year. So, Matt, if you want to come up and talk a little bit on Phillips. So, in short, the recommendation that we have to that is that we do all 5 blocks of Phillips from north to Pine, and then move Booster to tentatively 2023, but still will be done in the future, and then we'll have a phasing construction plan for Phillips. Kind of proud of you plan.
Yeah, so we provided a preliminary phasing plan. Phase 1 and Phase 2 can be flipped around very easily. The concern was crosstown traffic on Elm and Oak, because there's really not a lot of crosstown options in this area. We also need to coordinate with school work in round the school down there. So phase one is the blue line to replace underground infrastructure first, and then gravel the street back, open it up for access to driveways and cross streets. So Elm Street would be reopened before Oak Street would be closed. Do utilities in phase two, grading and base in phase two, and then pave the entire section at once, but leave at least one of either Elm or Oak Street open to through traffic for crosstown traffic. So,
Just
Phillips.
doing that by gravel, you're leaving it open?
Yep, so when we do, it's proposed to be concrete paving, so they pave as much as they could with the paver, all at the same time, but we'll just skip one, potentially both of the intersections. Phillips isn't the through street, Elm and Oak are, so we don't have the design done, but most of the time, the through streets are the ones that can be paved with a paver. So the bottom three would be able to be paved with a paver straight through the intersections. Elm and Oak Street would most likely be hand pours, just due to the crown of the streets going east and west. So the paver can't make that maneuver with concrete. It's just, it'll be a hand pour. So that's how we're controlling some resident access issues and crosstown traffic. We'll just put phasing in the plans, and the contractor may be able to flip-flop the phases if they choose to do so. Any other questions, concerns?
Just tied in with the Wooster, taking the 2 blocks off of Wooster, is there a benefit to doing all this in one shot, or is it kind of a, doesn't matter if we do that?
The paving sequence is easier if you do it all in one shot, since the south of North Street, Phillips is kind of a different street at that point. So doing all 5 blocks, paving them all at once is more cost effective than doing 3 blocks now, paving 2 blocks of Wooster, paving 2 blocks of Phillips in the future. Just sequence wise for paving, it's going to be cheaper to pave these 5 blocks all at once.
Okay.
And then, like Jacob said, North Street was removed from the mill and overlay project. The library is questionable if that's going to get done with this year's mill and overlay project. It would maybe, we could look at doing Wooster Street and asphalt, combining it with an asphalt project on North Street and the library asphalt work. So potentially in 2023 there could be an asphalt full reconstruction group of projects.
Matt, the Wooster Street and the school bus is going on, do you recommend asphalt? That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, school buses don't really weigh a lot. The garbage truck weighs more than the school bus, so. Yeah, school buses
Are
are.
you able to widen it then at the same time?
Yep. Yeah, since it's still going to be a full reconstruction, we can widen the street out. But like I said, we can lump Wooster Street with another concrete project too, and keep it concrete if that's what you want to do.
No, I was just wondering.
Yep.
I had not been in on the conversation of making it asphalt.
Sure.
And I guess just from my standpoint, I've had several residents in the city talk about Wooster Street, so it just says to do Wooster at a later date, I guess. How sure are we gonna be able to get this next year, and then, or the year after, or, I just don't want it to slip out that would get forgotten about when it seems like it's pretty big.
We're looking at probably having reconstruction projects, doing those in 2023, which is tentatively, without committing that far in advance, the kind of the default would be to make Wooster for 2023. The survey work's already been done on Wooster, which will still be good at that point. Our original thought was, we were doing McCoy, was let's throw on the 2-block project, so we just get, better proof and pricing with that. And then we kind of expand the discussion, look at Phillips. Consider taking all of Phillips, which is the impact on the neighborhood and crosstown traffic, but after vetting a little bit more, I think that those concerns are at least our project management standpoint of having less site, just one street, that makes sense, from the contractor standpoint, that also makes sense, but, or, more attractive, so, we just look at Worcester as a default 2023, but when we get to budget season for the next year, taking on at that time.
If we remove Worcester off the college, I would like to propose we put no parking on the west side of Worcester Street, at least between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. when the school traffic is going through there. That will at least allow two-way traffic through there instead of one-way.
So Barbara, as discussed, we can put together a formal list in order to how we would do it. We'll run it by Bolton and we can make changes.
But next year, we would plan to do all 5 blocks down at Phillips, you're saying, though, but just phase it, so we can get traffic through.
Right.
Yep, yeah, it'll be in connection with the McCoy Street project, all bid at once.
Yep.
Both street projects, we'll just have, contract stipulations that the contractor has to leave Elm or Oak open at all times, and they'll have to pave it and do the underground work accordingly. But the underground work is easily split up into these 2 phases. Water is easy to kind of start and stop wherever. The sewer is kind of separate in both of these phases, so.
Okay.
And the storm sewer is separate too. So constructability, underground wise, is easy to break up into 2 phases.
Good.
Are we doing curb and gutter on that whole Phillips Street?
Yep, it'll be a full reconstruct just like Main Street.
Yeah. Because I know there's like some, it's either homeowners or rental properties that use the right of way for parking. on
Yeah, there's a
sidewalk.
couple of cases where there's little pull-ins.
Yeah.
We can definitely address that.
Yeah.
I know with the
We'll
McCoy.
talk about potential options for widening.
Yeah, me and Jacob, we had a team design meeting this morning within Bolton and Mink, and just going over some of the options for these streets. Now that we have survey completed on, the south 3 blocks of Phillips Street anyway. Just kind of seeing street widths, where utilities need to get laid out, all that stuff. Phillips currently is a 26-foot wide street, and we're gonna look into the option of widening it out to 31. That would be the same width as Main Street is currently, now that it's rebuilt from north to south. Same thing with McCoy. We're looking at reducing that width to 31 as well. There's a lot of on-street parking that's behind the curb along the school and along the apartments and Emeralds and everything that's up there. Narrowing the street and putting in the angle parking so you're not hanging way out into the street is something that we're looking into. So with both of those stretches, most of McCoy has the off-street behind the curb parking that's planned to be privately assessed at 100% to the property owner. There is a couple of those locations in here. There's one in the middle block of phase 1 where there is 90-degree parking that probably hangs out in the street too far already. So that would be eliminated totally. I think it's an apartment duplex or fourplex or a rental unit, but we could look at if there was some cases paving the right of way between the sidewalk and the parking area, and privately assessing that and allowing parallel parking in the boulevard. But there's a couple other private residences that do have driveways that have pull-in parking in the boulevard, so it'd be maybe allow it for a rental but not for a resident. That's up to the city staff, I guess.
So with on Phillips, if we, were able to widen it from 26 to 31, that would allow for, 2 driving lanes and then 1 lane for on-street parallel parking. And then, in front of the resident, they wanted parallel parking the right of way, that for like the apartments there, that would be, something in addition to that would be outside of the driving lanes that,
If you widen it to 31, are you only gonna widen it down to Lucas? Or are you gonna widen it?
We would
South
widen
of
it down
Lucas?
down to North Street. And we'd probably have transitions into the existing radius of North Street diagonal
Yeah.
to not redo that whole corner, not redo that whole intersection. But we could make a long enough transition that it's not gonna look weird. It's getting 5 feet, being proposed to be 5 feet wider, so it's only 2.5 feet on each side. So you could have a, you know, a fairly lengthy transition. Concrete paving, they're gonna have to stop before North Street anyway with the paver. So if we just have a transition and they just have to stop and hand pour to the intersection, which they're gonna have to do anyway because they don't have enough room to, you know, maneuver the paver and get it hauled out without space.
How will that impact the parking lot at the seat?
So right now their sidewalk is 8.5 feet wide. The sidewalk would be narrower, but we're gonna look into shifting the street extra width to the east as an option. So right now the road is mostly centered in the right of way. Widening the street out, it might save tree impacts down one side of the street if we widen it out just one way. Most of the steeper driveways are on the west side of the street, so widening out to the east would eliminate steep driveways, concern anyway. So, like I said, we literally just talked about this morning, so we don't have anything laid out, and a lot of laid out design is just kind of,
Yeah.
should we even attempt to widen the street out? Should we even attempt to narrow McCoy? And just kind of look at our options.
Yeah, good discussion though, yeah.
And just to clarify on McCoy, we'd be narrowing the street, but with that extending the area where you have angled parking, so surface area wise, it'd be about the same, but it just kind of
Basically,
shifts
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Good.
So I guess on the side, we just, we want a motion, giving formal direction on, changing, school council changing task order number 3 to 5 blocks of fill-ups. Keep the parking lot reconstruction in there, and then removing booster with the intent that, we'll take it on in 2023.
I would move to approve that.
Second.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Brad. Any other discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 19 concerns a pay application.
So 19, 20, and 21 are all applications for street projects, so I just kind of want to maybe just give a little update on all three before we take them on.
Sure. Yeah, we can start with the mill and overlay project. So in your packet, you'll have pay estimate number 5, in the amount of $38,226.71. This is for the final seeding work that was completed, and then also the reduction of retainage that's going to be held through the winter. So the contractor still needs to complete SWIP inspections through the winter. Since we dormant seeded everything, we obviously don't have grass growing in everything we've seeded this fall, phase 2 of the mill and overlay project. So we are going to be holding some of the dollars in the retainage until we get seed established, until they, make sure that they're doing their SWIP inspections and that kind of stuff through the winter. So the job will remain open until next spring, where we'll go through any seed concerns, any settlement, anything that needs to be done before we close out the job and treat everything as warranty work after that. Main Street is the other pay estimate, or another one. This one is for $1,569.65. This is basically just final seating that we were kind of waiting to see if we were going to final this job out before winter or not. We haven't got through all the paperwork with Reading yet to do that, but we did want to get them paid for the work that they did complete, which was some final seeding and some SWIP in the protection removal and maintenance and that kind of stuff. So it's a small amount. We don't really have any major pay items left on that. Balance to finish the 27,000 most likely is not going to get spent. Some of the items that we didn't need to use. So, and we are still holding that retainage. The DOT does not let us release any retainage till it's finalized out. So, if we do get through the closeout documents, there may be a pay estimate over the winter that has that retainage being released. So, we'll see if that happens. And then Moore Street and Snap-on Drive. This is for all the paving on Snap-on, along with the utility work through November 30th. The balance to finish there, $730,215.53 is the total on this pay application number 5. Balance to finish is $180,000. They have done a lot of that work since then. This would be the storm pond, outlet structures, pipe aprons, and the water main along Highway 18 to the east. And then seeding. They seeded Snap-on Drive today. I think they're seeding Moore Street tomorrow, hopefully. So that's the schedule this week anyway. And this job, the same thing as the mill and overlay project, since the storm seed, it'll remain open through the winter, and we'll maintain SWIP inspections and all that.
So is that Snap-on Drive open now?
It's not currently, but I would expect it to be open this week. Now that it's seeded, they didn't want traffic on there while they were still working in the area, so they got all the pipe aprons in, all the storm structures in that they were waiting for from the supplier, and seeded, so should be.
So
good to go.
will that street be painted, stripes down the middle, or?
It's not proposed to be, I guess.
Okay. People just drive by the crack down the middle, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like
Stay on your own side.
most of the other local streets in town
drive.
anyway.
Yeah, true.
There shouldn't, I mean, I don't expect there to be a lot of traffic out there normally until the industrial park gets developed a little bit farther. Obviously, Snap-on's gonna have their equipment and trucks, and Fracco may have some of that too, but you'll get a few, curious residents, I'm sure, for the first couple weeks after it's open, but that's all right. That's all I got for project updates.
All right, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
So we're still on technically item 19.
19, right. Entertain a motion then to approve that one. Number 19, we'll take these three individually.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried on agenda item number 19. We'll move then to agenda item number 20.
So this is pay application number 6 for Main Street, amount of $1,569.65.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. And then agenda item number 21.
So this is pay application number 5 for the Moore Street Snap-on Drive Peak Industrial Park project. Amount due with this bill is $730,215.53. Eligible finish, including retainage, is $179,868.56.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Brad, a second from Rodney. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 22 pertains to a highway safety grant.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to wake up now.
Hey,
I'm
Walt.
looking at you, I'm like, what are you talking about? So this is a grant we applied for we have for the past few years. It's called the STEPS program. It's a Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau. What it is it gives our guys opportunities to, they ask for some overtime. Our guys go out, just do extra patrol, check in on seat belts, pretty much anything traffic oriented. There's different areas it specializes in, from OWI or alcohol enforcement, seat belts, speeding, all that stuff. With that, we've been doing it for multiple years. Normally, it's always been just you can also ask, instead of for money, you can ask for, or like overtime money, you can ask for camera systems. Like you guys have seen our speed trailer every once in a while out and about. That actually came through this grant a few years back.
Okay.
Also, some of our vehicle cameras, in-car cameras, that's where that stuff comes from. Some of them, we try and help that offsets out of our budget, and we put in a little time on our side of it as well. So this year, reality is we are switching our in-car camera systems to a different company. And with that, last year we didn't, because of that, we weren't able to get one ordered in time. So I reached out to them. So this year, which is a little different than most, they're paying for 2 in-car cameras, since last year we didn't, plus also $2,500 in overtime. So the total would be about, it'd be $11,500 for the grant this year. I think that's, if you guys have questions for me, definitely. Sometimes you guys hear, we turn it into the radio when we're having stuff like that, and newspaper, and it's their choice to put that on there. And with these different time frames, it's not like a year, or it's like not all the time. It's going to be over your 4th of July's, over your Thanksgivings, your Christmases, high traffic, trying to just reduce the accidents and try and reduce some of the fatalities that we have. So that's why they bump up the overtime during them times to get more traffic enforcement out there. So, yeah.
Okay.
You guys have any questions?
Thank you, Bo. Looks like a good idea, so move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Jody. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Motion carried. We'll move to agenda item number 23, and that's accepting the 2022 garbage rates.
Garbage service and all are provided by private contractors in accordance with City Code Section 816. All collectors licensed by the city shall charge the collection of residential waste using a unit-based pricing system acceptable to the Alberta City Council. So the entities set their own rates, but it just has to be considered acceptable by council. So this approves the proposed rates for next year for that. We reached out multiple times to Waste Management, and they've not gotten back to us yet.
I did talk to someone today. They renewed their rates in April.
So there's
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Motion to approve garbage rates for dump it 2022.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 24 is to approve city office holiday hours.
Since the 25th is on Saturday this year, city offices will be closed on Friday, December 24th. Traditionally, for several years, council has provided additional time. The city offices are closed around Christmas holidays, depending on where it lands. What we're proposing this year is to close city offices at noon on Thursday the 23rd. And then that day, staff will still be here and kind of just as an end of year, be able to bundle up projects to kind of take care of all that miscellaneous stuff that constantly builds up over time. And then, more than likely maybe cutting out a little bit early, but proposed to close city offices at noon on 23rd.
What about the new year? How about New Year's?
New
Your
Year's,
plans for that?
we get the New Year's Day off as a designated holiday, so since the first is a Saturday, we will be closed on Friday, December
31st,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Usually nothing early on the day, like on that.
Okay.
But-
I definitely agree. I would just make a suggestion, if you guys are ready to make these decisions earlier in the month of December and next year, go ahead and bring this to the council earlier in December so you guys can make plans, you know, for your holiday plans. So, no, I agree. And I would make a motion to approve as stated by Jacob.
Second.
We have a motion from Jody, second from Tyler. Any other discussion?
I'll just note that we
Yep.
have discussed probably just addressing this in our annual resolution, setting the dates, because I think it's going back about 10, 15 years. We've always done a special day at a meeting, so it's just, if we're going to do that, let's just incorporate it into something we standard adopt, so we'll look at that.
Good.
Yep. Okay, vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Jody.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 25 is an appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill the remainder of Tony Ram's term. Do we have anybody?
Not coming out of me yet. I don't.
Okay. All right.
No Francis here. Okay.
Okay, we'll move then to 26, final notification for terms, again on the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill Mary Toomey and Jeff Gilmore's positions, or maybe they want to renew. Has anyone had a chance to visit with them? Either one?
I'm happy to visit with them. I just would need good contact info. So I don't know if someday, if you can give it to me, I'll reach
Okay.
out to them.
Okay, very good,
Yep.
thank you.
Sure.
Okay. All right, and then the final item, number 27, again, this is terms expiring on the Broadband Telecommunications Commission. John Bond's term expires the end of this year. So anyone had a chance to visit with John?
No, but I can reach out to him.
Okay,
I'll
Wanna do
reach out
that?
to him.
okay, very good. All right, thank you for doing that. All right, that brings us to the end of tonight's agenda. It's 6:04. I would entertain a motion then to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Christmas.